Sri Lanka, I haven't had enough experience of. I'm telling every journalist at the moment, give me a chance, because I've literally been here for 36 hours. Most of the time is spent in the hotel prepping for the functions that are coming up. So my experience is limited to staring out the window or my trip from the airport to the hotel or going out to the market this morning. But so far, everybody I've met has just been wonderful, warm, generous, lovely sense of humor, very different from where I've been traveling. So far so good. Ask me in 10 days time, because I'm having a holiday, quick holiday after this, traveling around. So yeah, going up to Kandy, doing the railway, doing an elephant safari, coming back via Bendota and spending some time on the beach, going to Gaul. So yeah, so I get a little snapshot, bit of time in the car, 4.5 hours in the car looking out the window. I said to my wife, I'm really hoping, because Sri Lanka has been on my wish list for so long, and for whatever reason, it's just eluded us. And I said, I want a new favorite destination. Whenever you travel to a place, and obviously I've got Sri Lankan friends, we've got a big Sri Lankan community in Australia, particularly Melbourne. We have had Sri Lankan contestants on MasterChef that have kind of, championed your cuisine as well. But the difference is always of its place. Like when you're having a dish in another country, it could be ingredients are slightly different. People adapt dishes to different ingredients. And often things like spices, like for example, Sri Lankan cinnamon, the reputation is worldwide. People know it's absolutely the best, same as the tea. And so when you get to eat something of its place, in its place, it's always different. And it can be, often you don't understand how they do that. Like it could be two identical dishes, maybe two, what you think are the same ingredients, but there's always that little X factor that you go, wow. It's like when you're on holiday. I don't know if you've ever done this. You go on holiday, I know this, you go to Italy, buy, drink a bottle of wine in a vineyard, have something to eat. It's the most delicious wine you've ever had in your life. And you take that bottle of wine home and you drink it at home. It doesn't taste the same. It's missing the environment that you're in, the vibe, the air, everything. Well, I was telling somebody earlier, because we actually had a black pork curry on last night. And I said it was one of the first Sri Lankan dishes I ever made. A good friend of mine taught me how to do it, probably 30 years ago. And so it's always been a family favorite. And I've adapted the recipe, like if I made it for you, you'd be like, Gaz, like more flavor. But as my daughter was growing up, I had to introduce, spices slowly. Now she's coming out, can't wait. She's 22, she's looking forward to coming out because she loves big flavors, big spice, hot food. But yeah, I think, to be honest, I want the chance to travel around, eat some street food. If I'm lucky enough to get invited to somebody's home, eat that, because honestly, that's the best food, isn't it? And to get a really good idea of what Sri Lankan food means here, rather than what we eat in Melbourne, for example. Same as everywhere in the world, you just got to follow the passion, follow your joy. If you love what you do, it's easy. It's easy to get through the tough times because, hospitality is a tough career. And I said to a gentleman earlier, he said, I was a culinary student, but I dropped out. And I said, often the secret to success is just keep going. Keep going, and eventually you're the only one. So it's quite nice to, people go, oh, how did you get to your level? I go, I just kept going. I love what I do. Many people have dropped out of the industry, or they go off to do other things, and they're going sideways as you're firing forward. So, for young chefs, it's about finding a mentor, loving what they do, working in great places, and maybe finding the one thing that you think, because it changes, that you want to do, because then it gives you a more singular focus. You want to be a great baker, go work in great bakeries. You want to bake bread singularly, just bake bread, until you choose that you want to do something else. And the nice thing about the industry these days is very entrepreneurial. So you can start a business on the back of baking a great loaf of bread, for example. No, actually, I said, let's reframe that. Up to a certain age, no. My dad was an engineer. I wanted to be like every little boy, I kind of wanted to be, or every little girl now, which is lovely. I wanted to be an engineer or, I don't know, an architect, a draftsman. I felt that that's where I was going to go. About the age of 14, I started to change my mind. My grandfather was a chef. He was retired, had a beautiful garden. He seemed to enjoy life. I think that's what I I kind of realized like Dad was very serious, very clever, very quiet. And I thought, I'm not like that. Like I wasn't like my dad. You know, he used to get frustrated with me because even my maths was terrible. My mum's a creative. She's an artist. She's a calligraphist. And I was more like my mum, more like my grandfather. So seeing him make things that when you're a kid are delicious too, I thought, you know what? This could be a good career. And it's turned out to be a fabulous career. Loved it. And this is what I say to, you know, young people that have grown up with MasterChef. I suppose it's the same kind of, what would you say, that little sparkle in their eyes that I had, you know, when I realized what I wanted to do.